We've all found ourselves stalking Instagram models and just drooling over their extravagant lifestyles. While all those trips to Dubai, shopping trips, and lavish dine-outs will have us cursing the stars, the reality of this way of life will absolutely shock you. In today's video, we'll be talking about the Instagram models of Dubai, particularly ones doing prostitution. You'll find out some pretty dark stuff. What goes on exactly? We open up Instagram to see these models posing with their amazing beach bodies and going on these expensive shopping sprees and trips. You can see them wearing Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and lots of designer wear. The question that pops up is, how can they afford all of that? You would expect brand deals and advertisements, but neither of those pay enough to finance this way of life. You'll be shocked to know that these models don't pay for the trips or the clothes. They have sugar daddies lined up in their DMs who are ready to pay to fly them in. They pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend a night with them. From insider reports, most of this stuff goes on in the UAE and Dubai. Hotels that are meant for princes have staff that have to sign non-disclosure agreements. Doing so prevents the staff from ratting out on the private life of the Instagram models or the life of the princes, which is why you won't find a lot of people talking about it. But the truth comes out somehow. There have been reports of Instagram models being paid to sleep with underage princes. Now that's extremely shocking and disturbing, as these women do everything and anything they can to get the bag and risk their lives in the process. There have even been reports of influencers or models that have made $200,000 in cash and had to carry it back to their state. But because of their profession and inability to explain where the money even came from, they had to give it all up to customs. So everything has to be online these days to secure payments and keep anonymity in the process, like payments in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other cryptocurrencies. Dubai acts as the main hub of these activities, as the city provides just the right hotels. Additionally, Dubai's own princes can also be found partaking in these questionable arrangements. Some of these Arab princes spend more than what you would consider normal, as they spend over 200,000 euros per model for a visit. An Instagram influencer and model by the name of Lozado Gonzalez was tricked into dating and sleeping with a rich Arab man. And if things couldn't get any worse, she also had to sleep with his younger 13-year-old brother. Every Instagram model makes at least 5 visits per year to Dubai. God knows how much remains covered. An insider from the website known by the name First Man stated that every single rich guy would think of heading to Dubai if they wanted to let off some steam. Dubai's like the Vegas of the UAE, except it's much worse in comparison. There's a lot of things in Dubai that go unnoticed and are even ignored. The drugs, partying, and the occasional woo-hooing is much more common than you think among these Instagram models. One man going by the pseudonym First Man on Medium tracked their activities for over 3 months. They did all the math for you and came to the conclusion that whoever she was going with was spending an average of 20,000 euros on her every month. She traveled to LA, Marrakesh, Bali, and Amsterdam, all the while she was living in Dubai. This did not include the living costs, her daily and monthly expenses, her costs of maintenance that she spent. If we look at the brand deals that she makes, she basically should have 0 savings in the bank, which makes everything all the more interesting, as that means someone's definitely paying for her. Or she's earning a lot more than we can imagine. One of these Instagram models took the bold step and came forward with her story in an interview, anonymously published on LibReddit. You'll be surprised by what she had to say about what goes on behind the scenes. She kept her identity anonymous due to personal reasons and privacy concerns. She was an Instagram model that had about 800,000 followers and was able to land many gigs in LA and California due to a few managers that she worked with. She said that she got countless messages from solicitors on a daily basis. She said that she had over 10,000 unopened DMs that she had her editors and managers go through, but she opened up the important ones. When asked about how many of these stories were true, she said almost all of them were true. She said a sheik one day DM'd her, and she was surprised that he even was the real deal or not. After making some rapport and going back and forth with him, he finally got to the point with her and stated that he was a sheik that wanted to invite her over to a party that needed to end with a happy ending, if you get what we mean. She took the experience at face value and thought he was some random dude that was pranking her. But she finally FaceTimed him and was convinced. Later, she met one of her managers over in LA, and he offered her a lot of cash to make her comfortable. She then accepted his offer and went to participate in an inappropriate party. She had parties on days 2 and 3, and privately attended to the sheik in question on the 4th day. Afterwards, it was free reign for her as she was paid in millions and went on a shopping spree with the sheik's credit cards. And that's where these models pose and take their exorbitant modeling pictures showing off their glamorous lifestyles. The Instagram model made a ton of money without any problems, and went home after a happy time where she spent time with the guy she's dating. We've also heard some disgusting stories surface when it comes to Instagram influencers traveling as escorts to Dubai. We've heard stories about people defecating or urinating on Instagram models as well, which is incredibly disgusting. There are also stories about Instagram models going on cruises with the richest of the rich on yachts. These private yachts spend weeks and months offshore and act as private communities with all the luxuries that the world has to offer. Waiters, staff, and attendants on deck have talked about yacht parties that have also gone horribly wrong. An Instagram model, which will remain unnamed due to the circumstances of her death, was on a private yacht of some influential billionaire figure, which was not mentioned in the article. She was going to die of a drug overdose, and there was nothing that the passengers on deck could do about it. She called before it happened to talk to her family, and died 2 hours later. There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes that are not worth mentioning at all. Taking things a bit too far. When a sheik pays $30,000 to a model for her services, he can basically ask her to do anything to satisfy his fetishes. Shockingly, some of these fetishes will leave you cringing. A few years ago, a website by the name of Tag the Sponsor shed light on these Instagram models. Pictures of these girls doing the most obscene stuff came to the surface. There were instances of rich Dubais pooping on these girls for pleasure. Another outrageous one was where a sheik had one model satisfy his camel. There's also one where another prince had an influencer place a live salmon where the sun doesn't shine. Of course, the girls are fairly compensated for their services. And that's all that we could fit into today's video. Make sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications for further videos in the future. With all that said, stay tuned, see you next time, and we're out.